Welcome back to the next part of our PHP topic. So we'll continue with the loops. First, we'll start this with a metaphor. Think of the four loops of the while loop and do while loop as a restaurant buffet like this. A do while loop needs you to enter or pay the restaurant first before you can taste the food if it's good. However, for while loop, you need to you can check it the review before you eat on the restaurant. So while loop will not execute the operation if it doesn't match the condition. So that's the idea in a high level, but the first or the simplest type is the while loop. Statement inside the curly brackets are repeated as long as the expression inside the parentheses returns true. So this, we start with the PHP, we initialize one, and then while dollar sign less than or equal 10 is the condition, and then it will echo statement and the increment. So this will execute from 1 to 10. So as you notice, guys, there's no closing statement because, as we've discussed in the previous video, closing statement is not recommended in PHP because to avoid like syntax errors. The do while loop is used whenever it must be run at least once, which is not possible with the while loop. So the do while loop needs to enter the restaurant here before it can taste the food, before it can check if it's actually good. So I'll show you an example here. So here, for while loop, this condition is false immediately. Let's say we initialize I as 11. It won't execute anything. But with the do while loop, let's say we put an 11, uh, and then we echo this I plus increment, it will print the 11 first. So it will echo it because that's what it does in the do statement. So even though it's false immediately in while loop, because it's 11 and it must be less than or equal 10, it prints the 11. So let's say we put the increment first, it will put number 12. It will execute number 12 here because in your do operation, you add 1 on this 11. So that's you increment first, then print. So here we print first I or 11, then increment it. So it really depends on how you structure the operation on the do curly brackets. So the do block run first, no matter what. Only after executing the statement inside does the condition get checked. So we need to operate this do before this gets checked, the while loop. So the for loop is the most complex of all loops in PHP, also referred to as counting loop, because a variable is used to count from one value to the next. So to understand this for loop, again, we'll do a metaphor. So imagine a for loop as like a timer in a space rocket. So here it initialized the counter, XPR1, set the countdown, and then it checked the condition if the rocket is ready to launch, and then it increment or decrement, move closer to launch depending on where is the closest launch, whether it's the decrement or increment. So the syntax is for XPR1, then XPR2, XPR3, where XPR1 is executed before the loop gets executed. After that, XPR2 is used to permanently check whether the expression it contains evaluates to true. So here's an example. For like for I, we initialize it to 1. And then, yeah, so If I is less than or equal to 10, we continue the countdown and then we echo the I. So this I is less than or equal to 10 is not fulfilled, which is why I plus plus is executed. So the XPR2 is the rocket ready to launch is this. This condition check if the I is equals to less than or equal to 10. Since it's not yet fulfilled, it will execute the this increment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. For each loops are designed to iterate arrays. You can think of it as a conveyor belt in a factory. It brings items one by one, and each item is processed. A for each loop only works with arrays, just like a conveyor belt processes multiple items like this. These translations, so it will translate English to Jer. So this is the output. The translation of Mr. is here. The translation of Mr. is Frau. So you might be asking how that happened for each loop. It's kind of this kind of is more complicated, but the reason why is because we don't have a background knowledge on how PHP automatically assign these arrays. So I'll provide you the details for that. So the for each loop in PHP is designed specifically to iterate over associative arrays where each element has a key and value. So here, in this array, you have this element, Mr. Pointing to her. So automatically, PHP read this as an element which has a key and a value, key of Mr. and a value here. So it's the same with this. It's an element as well with a key, Mrs. and a value from. PHP look at the first element of translation. So it looks first for this, for each loop. Here, Mr. and here, and then it assigns Mr. P to ENG, which is the first key in the translation. So here's the format, key, here, you can put anything here like red or ano, but PHP will read that as a key, and then let's say J. So here, PHP will read that as a value. So it will echo the translation in that format. So that's what it meant. It assigns Mr. P to and it assigns her value to Jer, and then it executes this. The translation of Mr. is here. PHP moves to the next element and it does the same. It assigns Mrs. Key to Eng and it assigns Frau to Jeff. And then the translation of Mr. is Frau and it executes this. So it automatically assigns the key before to the first variable Eng, the value after to the second variable Jeff. If we omit the key variable, PHP will only assign the value. So here, for each translation as Jer, so we don't have a key here, the ENG, echo the German word is Jer. So it execute this, the German word is here, the German word is Pro. So since we meet the key variable, it will only assign the value and not the. So that's how for each loop, if you don't assign a key. The for each loop acts like a more sorting machine. It picks up, so you can think of it as mall sorting machine as well. It picks up an envelope, key, Mr. And Mrs. So those are the keys, and its letter, value, here. So it delivers the translation correctly. So it picks up the envelope and its letter, value, and its value inside the envelope, and it translated correctly. So that's its operation. While loop with break and loop, so this you can think of this example as a rat running on a hamster and then only break at a certain case. So remember in the previous video where we break a statement in a case. So it's like this, but basically the main idea is that it allows you to break an infinite loop. So here we use an example for any loop as while loop with break. Any loop can be aborted using the break keyword. For example, you can set the condition of a while loop to true, which actually means that it will run an infinite number of times. So here, while is true, runs indefinitely. I is equals to I, question 0, I plus plus, and then it will echo. So it will add it. It will start with 0 and then it will count 0, 1 until 10 until it reach this condition. And then if it reach this, if I is greater than or equal to 10, then it will break stop at 10. So to avoid dropping your program in an infinite loop, you can terminate it after a specified number of runs. A hamster starts running on a treadmill and keeps going forever, so that's the metaphor. However, after 10 laps, we force it to stop break, executes stop after 2010. And then our next topic would be um, functions. So, and then in the next part, we will create a program using PHP. And that's it, guys. I hope this metaphor allow us to understand better, and we were able to discuss loops, which is just the application of operations that we discussed in the previous chapter. It's just the same, almost the same with the previous with the JavaScript language. But moving forward, we were gonna use all this language into one as we go as we tackle more complicated topics, such as in the next topic, we will discuss API, which is the basics of programming, and then we will discuss database. After that, testing, and then deployment and optimizing websites. So those are increasing complexity, which is good because we're able to understand fully the foundations which we need to be able to create a full stack application. And again, thank you for watching and see you on the next video. Peace.